hybrid picking is an awesome technique that allows you to pick with your plectrum and with your fingers at the same time. It's really great whether you're a rhythm player or a lead player, and today I'm going to show you how to master the technique. There are 3 different types of motions when it comes to hybrid picking. There's the pinching motion, there's the rolling motion, and there's the alternating motion. And we're going to start off by breaking down the pinching motion, as this technique is going to be the best way to break down the mechanics of hybrid picking. Pinching is the first motion, and it's where we pick with our pick and with our fingers at the same time. So let's take an E major 7 chord. You can use any other chord if you want to, but I'm going to use this chord. And what we're going to do is place our pick on the A string, and we're going to place our middle finger on the D string, ring finger on the G string, and little finger on the B string. We're going to pinch the strings and pick everything at the same time, like that. Now, when you're hybrid picking, I want you to remember the 3 Ps, and that's prior picking placement. Before you pick the notes, you want to have your fingers on the strings. As you can see, my fingers are on the strings, and now I'm picking. This makes it a lot easier, because if your hand is floating away from the strings and you try and pick the strings, it's a lot harder to be accurate. Now, one thing that needs to be mentioned as well is that the movement of our picking comes from our fingers. It does not come from our wrists. So with that in mind, let's take a look at the chords we're going to be using for the exercises in today's video. We're going to be using an A major 7. We're going to be using a B7. We're going to be using a C sharp minor 7. And we're going to be using an E major 7. The first example I've got for you is an example using pinching, and it's a very simple rhythm, just quarter notes to get you used to that pinching motion. Now I want you to take a look at my right hand here. My right hand, whenever I'm picking the strings, my fingers are on there, that prior picking placement, yeah, the 3 Ps. My fingers are on the strings, then I pick. This is really helpful as well for muting strings, okay, because you can mute the strings with your fingers. That creates cleaner playing. The next type of motion is the rolling motion. Now the rolling motion is pretty simple. We're going to play 1 string at a time in order to get a sort of rolling effect. I'm going to use the E major 7 again. What we're going to do, place our fingers on the strings beforehand as well. Remember the prior picking placement, the 3 Ps. And what we're going to do is we're going to use our pick, then our middle finger, then our ring finger, then our little finger. Simple. What you want to do is start slowly and build the speed up. Create sounds like that. So take a look at an example that uses some rolling. The next motion is the alternating motion, and again this is quite a simple technique. We're alternating between our pick and our fingers. Once again, that prior picking placement is absolutely necessary here. Again, if I use that E major 7 chord, I'm going to place my fingers and my pick on the strings first. I'm going to use my pick to pick the A string. My fingers are still on the strings that I'm just about to pick, okay? Then I'm going to pick the strings, okay? So again, there you go. And then maybe you can try with a metronome, increasing your speed. Now there's not much more to that technique than that. Why don't you take a listen to an example that I created using the same chords and using the alternating motion. Now you get the coolest effects in your hybrid picking when you can combine all of these motions together into one picking pattern. And that's what I've done in the following example. What I'm doing is I'm doing a pinch, and then I'm alternating, then I'm doing a pinch again, then a roll, okay, then a pinch again. And also I've added a few slaps. They're optional, but you can maybe give them a go as well. So take a listen to the example. Now, the really awesome thing about hybrid picking, which I mentioned earlier, is that you don't just have to use it for rhythm playing, you can use it for lead playing and single note ideas as well. So let's learn some single note ideas. So for the following examples in this video, what we're going to be doing is picking with our pick on the D string, and we're going to be using our middle finger on the B string and our ring finger on the high E string. So let me break down this first idea. What we're doing is playing the 11th fret of the D string with our ring finger, and then we're going to be playing the 9th fret of the B string with our index finger on our left hand, okay? So first of all, we're going to pick the D string, and then we're going to pick the open B string with our middle finger. And we're going to hammer on that 9th fret. Just like that. We're going to do that 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we're going to pick the high E string with our ring finger. And then all we're going to do is take this shape with our left hand and we're going to move it in different places. Now, one thing again to mention, even when we're playing single note lines, prior picking placement is very, very important. I'm putting both my pick and my finger down at the same time, even though I'm not going to play them at the same time, okay? And then again, notice how I'm putting the finger and the pick down at the same time, okay? So you might want to practice that very, very slowly to start off with and then build your speed up. But take a listen to the example where I've used this idea and started moving the shapes around. The final exercise in this video is the idea that you heard at the beginning of the video in the intro. It's a really, really nice idea. I wrote it ages ago and I still haven't found a really good use for it. So I thought I'd chuck it in this video on hybrid picking because I use hybrid picking for it. So this one's a little bit trickier. We're using slides and pull-offs as well. So take a look at it and then try and play it slowly and build the speed up gradually. Now, if you enjoyed this video and you want to learn all of the licks, the tabs are down in the description at my Patreon page. They're available in Guitar Pro and PDF format for you, so you can download the tabs in whichever format that you prefer. If you want to learn how to create chord progressions like the one I've used today, then you can grab a copy of my book, Chord Charisma 2.0. The first 2 chapters are available for free. Those first 2 chapters, I'm going to show you how to write a basic chord progression and then build it up into something really interesting using 9ths, 11ths, 13ths, that kind of thing. Make your chords sound more sophisticated and jazzy. And here's a little bit more about the rest of the book. Chord Charisma 2.0 is a complete guide to writing incredible, jaw-dropping chord progressions. Everything you need to know about harmony and chords is contained within this book. It will take you through the basics of building tension and releasing your chord progressions, and will build upon this foundation with more advanced concepts like jazzy extended chords, borrowed chords from other keys, and cool substitutions to take your chord progression knowledge and ability to the next level. There is a serious amount of content in this book, but it's laid out in a structured fashion with action steps at the end of each chapter to make sure you've fully internalized and are actually able to use what you've learned from the book in your playing. That's really, really important. It's a very practical book, which will get you writing new progressions straight away, guaranteed. You'll also have access to personal feedback on your progressions from me via the Chord Charisma Facebook community. And as a bonus, I've thrown in a soloing guide to go with the book, so you won't get lost when you're trying to play licks over your new and improved chord progressions. Head to the link in the description to grab your copy of Chord Charisma 2.0 today.